Hello and welcome. I still don't have a name for this show, but if you're here, it's probably because you want to play a TTRPG. You have your friends, you have your system, but you don't know where to start. You don't know what you need for that first session. And I am here to help you, to give you the 3 elements that you need in order to make that first session a success. So let's dive right into the wolves. The first thing you want to have is your setting. Where will your players be playing inside of your game? Some systems bring a pre-generated setting in which you have to read lots of material. On other occasions, you will have to make your world, and it can be very overwhelming if you have many ideas and you don't know where to start. My advice is to start small. A village, a campsite, perhaps some ruins, or even a crashed air vessel can be very good examples of very good small settings for you to start that very first session. Another thing that your setting will need are landmarks, like a statue, structure, or even a tavern if you're making a village, something that stands out that your players can reference to, something that makes your world wonderful. The second thing you're going to want to have in your games are non-playable characters. Characters that will provide information to your players that you want them to have. Characters that will present plot hooks whenever your players need them, and will be the base of every social interactions within the game. You can build an NPC by giving it a name, a job, a goal, and a mannerism. Give it a name, whether if it's something simple or complex, randomly generated, or from the top of your head. Then give that NPC a job. Is it a tavern keeper, a store clerk? Is it a farmer or a blacksmith or something entirely different? You get to choose, decide, and give that character a job. Then give it a goal. Every NPC needs to have a desire, something they want, something that will persuade them. Perhaps the blacksmith wants metals from a mine. Perhaps a farmer wants someone to take care of the wolves that are threatening his livestock. Or maybe the tavern keeper wants entertainment for his locals. Whatever it is, the goal of the NPC will probably propel the players to be moved into a plot hook or to take up a job in order to get information or something out of the NPC. The last thing your NPC needs is a mannerism, a quirk, something that sets them aside from all the other NPCs. Perhaps it's the way in which they speak, or the way in which they act, or something they do that sets them aside and differentiates them from all the rest of NPCs that you're gonna be generating. The third and last thing you have to look out for are encounters. Your players will want to hit stuff in-game, and most TTRPGs out there have rules that provide for combat, and that is exactly what they are expecting. Your first encounter will probably introduce your players into their own character's abilities, and it can sometimes be overwhelming to balance out what your players can take on as adventurers. If you're not sure what your players can take on, here is some advice. Use a creature that does the least amount of damage possible. If you're rolling dice, use d4. If you have set values, use the lowest values that you can find. Secondly, do not give each player more than 1 monster to fight. If you have 4 players, each of them have a character, those are 4 characters, give each of those characters a monster to fight. That makes 4 monsters. And this last one is optional. It's what I usually do. The HP of these monsters should not exceed the max damage your players can do with their weapon. If the max damage a player can do with a weapon is 9, then the HP cap is 9. Hopefully you found this video useful and it sets you on the right path to creating your first game. If so, please consider liking and subscribing to support this channel and further videos in the future.